Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Courtney Cup, hitting the cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. And this portion of the show is supported by Native Concrete and Masonry. Give Chuck a call at 612-597-0421 and check out their work at nativeconcretemasonry.com.
I forgot I have this button here for when I'm right. I'm just going to hit this real quick, Haley.
Oh, that's a new one.
That's a wrong one. I meant to... Whoa, hey, shut
They're
up.
laughing.
They're laughing at me. What's going on here? Hey, we got a big countdown here. Shakopee's happening, and we're going to have a small booth out there this year, not our large, big booth here. The dog's upset about that, too. But, hey, so we're picking up our swag, and come on down there and check out Native Roots Arts. And then we'll be at the State Fair for 12 days. And, Haley, you know I won't be working every day, but I think we might be doing the show out there Monday through Friday.
Yes, that'll be fun, doing a live radio show out there at the Minnesota State Fair. And yes, we'll be at the Shakopee Powwow this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
For all our friends and relatives that are listening in Wisconsin and all across Turtle Island, Minnesota is the largest, the second largest state fair in the country. There's about 2.2 million visitors every year, and it's 12 days long. The first place one is in Texas. That's all month, so we won't count that. So we'll just say Minnesota is the best state fair in the whole United States. Ho-wah.
Oh, wow.
Hey, that was a weak one, but thanks, Haley. Hey, we have our friend who I see in the community everywhere now. We have our good friend, President and CEO of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, Ruth Buffalo. Welcome, Ruth.
Dosha. Hello, Madzigadads. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it was great seeing you this weekend at the Pollinator Festival, you and your daughter, and you were got to see your relative there singing and jamming there in the park. Yes,
for sure. It was fun. It was a good event and nice to be out in community, and the weather was beautiful. And yes, Nahish has a beautiful voice, and so it's always a blessing to hear her sing, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot going on. I know last week we talked a little politics, and it's a really exciting time. Haley and I made it out to Eau Claire and saw the VP and our friend Governor Walz, and I'm just excited for the future. That just the numbers are coming in and everything's looking really good. And, you know, I'll be at the DNC Monday and Tuesday. And then Thursday is this beginning of the Minnesota State Fair. So I have to come back to Minnesota. But I think it's a slam dunk that they will be recognized, and it'll be a heck of a DNC.
For sure. It will be definitely exciting and a lot of things happening there. Yes, I am finishing out my term. So my term as the North Dakota DNC committee woman, it's an elected position, and it'll be ending at the close of the presidential nominating convention. And so always been taught and raised, through my grandpa's words, who I didn't get to meet, passed away before I was born, but always, finish what you start. And for me, it's important, especially with representation, no matter how challenging it is, but to finish what you start. And that's one of the commitments I have that I will see through the end is my 4-year term as the North Dakota DNC committee woman.
Well, we're lucky to have you here in Minnesota, and lots happening all around. I went and Wendy and I went and voted today, which was good for the primary. There's a heated primary here in Minnesota, and we're just excited to be about the process. It's just, I wish, as a former educator, that schools would, teach about these elections and how our political arena works from maybe as much as they teach science and not just one little quarter there as you're a senior. Because I think our young ones, and I know I was intimidated. I love politics as a young one, and getting out there to vote as a young person in my first election has kept me as a voter ever since. But geez, these primaries slip away and people forget how important it is. And it's important, Ruth.
For sure, yes, especially if if you're being challenged within your respective party. I would say for sure. I know primaries in North Dakota are a little different. With I think primaries. I think with the Republican Party in North Dakota, the primary election is really their general election, and we saw that in the previous election cycle. But yes, it definitely depends on the political landscape, and it definitely varies. But yes, I see here in Minneapolis, you have a big primary with Representative Ilhan Omar. So we're kind of watching that, and actually ran into her a couple times. One time she hosted a meeting at McGeezy with the Native urban directors. And then my kids and I actually crossed paths with her about a month ago or so. It was just a random sighting of Representative Ilhan at a cross section. We're waiting for the light to turn green and to walk, and it was starting to rain, and we seen her walking by, and I was like, Ilhan? Not like I'm on a first name basis with her, but I was like Ilhan? No, just kidding. But I was like, can we get a selfie? And it's kind of interesting when you come across, Congress people and how they prefer to take the selfie themselves, so I think they kind of have it down to science, I
want to make sure that's a good picture. Yeah, she's been on a few times here, and we really, geez, I think she was a city council member first, and I heard her on NPR. We don't like to talk about NPR, but I heard her on NPR, and I was like totally amazed how she came off so well. And then, of course, all the decks and things changed, and all of a sudden she's running for Congress and all that crazy stuff that happened a few years ago. But yeah, we wish her luck, and and still be part of the squad if she gets reelected, which would be great as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, if you look at those primaries too, and the defeats there. But yeah, Representative Ilhan is an alumni of North Dakota State University, and she was a state legislator in Minnesota. But yeah, we have that common thread of alumni of North Dakota State University.
Is that the Bison?
Yes.
Go Bison. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, and people, you still have time. I guess I want to say too, to get out to the polls. They're open till 8. And if you're in line, they'll let you vote if you're in line by 8 o'clock. And, it's important. It's a good practice, and it's really easy. And, Wendy and I went in there, and 2 minutes later we were out taking selfies by the sign and our I voted stickers. And, so if you guys that are listening to this, take time and get out and vote.
Yes, for sure.
And Ruth agrees. Ruth, it's radio. Can't shake your head. Yes, they won't hear that. They only hear my head shaking because it rattles. I don't know. But hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're here with Ruth Buffalo and Haley Cherry, and we'll be right back after this short break. Haley, I pushed the right button. I got the bumper music and not the laughter.
Oh, good. Stay with us.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders.
cherishing and honoring our children.
When we honor and take care of our spirit,
There will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Discover the emotional depth and vivid storytelling of Jay White's Arikara proper at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This solo exhibition celebrates Arikara culture through the lens of an urban Indian perspective. Experience themes of empowerment, depictions of Native women, stars, and star quilts within White's vibrant acrylic paintings. Arikara proper is showing now through October 5th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Get inspired by Jay White's powerful storytelling on canvas. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. Howl!
Hi, this is Governor Walz. Thank you for listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
I love that tagline. Hey, we're with President and CEO of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, Ruth Buffalo, and we're just chewing the fat here. But I want to get back to what your organization does, and let's talk a little bit about that and what's happening this week, because as we found out as having you on every week, Haley, that Ruth's organization does things, a lot of stuff for the community.
They do. Yeah, a lot of really great stuff. I think I saw that you guys are going to be hosting star quilting, baby making blanket. That's really cool. What are the days for that?
August 19th, I believe, and we have a lot of it's gaining a lot of traction, and we have people that are wanting to get signed up. It's actually 2 days, August 19th and 20th, from 4 to 7 p.m. here at the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center in our community room. Our location is 2300 15th Avenue South. We're located just between Franklin and Lake Street and Bloomington. So directly south of us, directly north of us is the Pentagon high-rise apartment complex, and we share a parking lot with the Indigenous Peoples Task Force. So yes, we are right in the heart of the Phillips neighborhood or East Phillips neighborhood, also with the Ventura Village neighborhood as well. So we're kind of all in the mix here. But yes, we got a lot of exciting things on deck. Our monthly community meeting is going to be August 28th, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And lots of moving parts. We're approaching, our 40th anniversary, September 16th. We have a lot of events lined up, and as I mentioned last week, we have a benefit concert that we're working diligently on, and all of the whole lineup will be announced, and we'll get a flyer out there soon, but just wanting to get everything set there. But definitely a lot of good, exciting things happening here at MIWRC.
Yeah, that sounds exciting, and I'm excited too. Hopefully I'll be in town because I love live music. Haley, you love live music too. I know that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's always great to support our local artists.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was a good teaser. What else is going on? And, again, I want to also have our listeners out there we always like a call to action. That's get the website out there and the Facebook, and how people can support and keep on top of all the great pictures that pop up and the great things that you guys do over there.
Yes, our website is MIWRC.org. If you are so inclined to donate, it's MIWRC.org/donate. Our Facebook page is MIWRC, all in caps. And then we also have MIWRC_Minneapolis via Instagram. And then we're also on LinkedIn. But our website, too, we try our best to make sure that the events tab within our website is up to date, because we realize not everybody has or uses Facebook or Instagram. But yes, if you could please donate, to help us continue to help others, MIWRC.org/donate. And we recently had our first women's luncheon, and it went really great. A lot of community conversation, and it's just a time for individuals, family members, community members to come together and sort of like break bread together, or just share a meal and talk about issues that matter most to them. And so some of the things that came up were definitely themes that we want to focus on, because of course it's all community driven. So very organic and fluid, organic. So we are looking forward to meeting every other week with our women's luncheon. We were advertising it as bring your own lunch, but we're going to kind of modify it a little and also provide lunch as well. So yeah, it was a good time, and we're looking forward to seeing more women come together.
Yeah, that's important and really important work you're doing there. And anytime a group of Native people, women, men, children get together, it's a powerful thing, and it's a beautiful thing too. And we're all family in a lot of different ways, and it's good medicine, Ruth.
For sure, we're definitely building community, enhancing community, and just trying to find ways to strengthen community. Even in-house here, we have a pretty solid community of workers, within our organization. You hear different staff members saying like, it's like a little community here, and so it's going good, and we have a lot of amazing, talented staff here, and we really strive to stay grounded in our spirituality, spiritual ways, because that's really at the heart of making sure that we're at our best in serving the community. And so, yeah, I'm super blessed and thankful to be where I'm at right now, to help where I can. So yeah, that's kind of some of the things that are top of mind right now.
Right on. So I know when you were younger, you lived here in the Twin Cities. What's your take now that you're back? What has surprised you the most, or has changed the most? What is your vibe on the Twin Cities now that you're back living here?
Gosh, I think a lot has changed. I was just actually having that thought. When was it? I shared this last week in one of our meetings via Teams, community stakeholder meeting, but that I remember driving down Bloomington and coming, going down to Mayday Cafe and then coming back, and a lot of my friends back in the day lived on Bloomington and Cedar, and so and not far from the Mayday Cafe, and so coffee shop, and so I remember having that thought last week, driving down the street back to work here, and reflecting and thinking, what was I doing? What would I have been doing years ago, decades ago, when I worked at DIW as a youth worker, but this time of year and things. And I would say things have definitely changed. And so lots of work that needs to be done, but I'm really in awe, I guess you could say, of like how strong the community is here, and how everyone is willing to pull together and step up and help protect one another and protect our most vulnerable, our unhoused relatives, so, and just the richness of ceremony that is here is pretty amazing. And that wasn't anything that I had anticipated or expected coming in. And I'm super thankful for to be in ceremony and to be in community here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I believe that really the organizations have really pulled together in the last 6-7 years, and they're and it's good because they're working together as opposed to the pie's only so big, but spreading it out and helping everybody. I really feel that vibe's really changed over the years here, and in a really good way. I think there's a lot of helpers out there and people willing to help other organizations, and of course, what you said earlier, people.
For sure, staying community-centered or people-centered and staying true to our values, of our ancestors is really, really key and critical. But yes, I definitely see, I used to do a lot of community coalition building after undergrad. When my oldest was very young, but there was always this rule that we talked about, in coalition building was like leaving the egos at the door, and I think sometimes that might just come with maturity too, but sometimes there are others ahead of their time too. But yeah, I think just staying true to our values and leaving egos out of it and being truly happy and genuine for one another, and really leaves very little room for negativity or jealousy. And so, yeah, I'm just super proud to be a part of the Native-led organizations here and the movement that is here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and you can see now where we were coming from, Haley and I, in the community when you were brought in to run Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, how happy we were to have you come in, because we know you're a doer and have a great heart, and so we were really happy. We even came down to welcome you.
I remember, yes, Madzagirads. I mean, everything I felt moved pretty quickly, but yeah, I'm thankful to be here, and the staff are amazing, the community is amazing, and everybody wants to make sure that we are improving the quality of life for our most vulnerable, our unhoused relatives. And it's important to continue working together, lifting one another up, and finding ways to support one another. And I truly believe everything is rooted in our spiritual ways, which I'm super thankful that our ancestors left these beautiful ways here for us to keep alive.
Wow, great way to end it. We're so grateful to have you here in Minnesota helping out in a good way, and we're really grateful that you're here on Native Roots Radio checking in a good way. You have a great heart, and it shows. Thank you so much, Ruth Buffalo.
Madzagirads. See you.
All right, we'll see you. Hey, up next, we have Heather Keeler. I guess via phone, StreamYard. I'm going to have to give her a hard time. I had to clean my office, Haley, and now it doesn't matter. I guess I can throw stuff around again. The studio. Oh, hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with MIWRC. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. MIWRC dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to MIWRC on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Chuck Manette, owner of Native Concrete and Masonry. With concrete and masonry adding substantial value to your home, it's always a great idea to repair your sidewalks or just add a beautiful new patio. Cracks or heaving in your sidewalks due to tree roots can be dangerous. Native Concrete and Masonry has helped clients across the metro to make their outdoor space safer and helped increase the value to their homes. For patios, sidewalks, driveways, or garage slabs, go to nativeconcretemasonry.com.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Bonjour, hello. My name is Wabin. I am an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation, descendant of the Navajo Nation, and co-chair of the Indigenous Employee Resource Group with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. MnDOT is hiring for a variety of positions from road maintenance to accounting and more. We offer great benefits. For more information or to set up a one-on-one resume and application assistance, visit mn.gov/careers, or you can text or call 612-257-2388. 612-257-2388.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
You may have seen a certain truck in videos being shared on social media. How about the truth? I have yet to see any video of that truck outperforming the Toyota Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota. I've driven Sienna since 2006. They handle the highways great, handle back roads, and handle 3 inches of snow a lot easier than the so-called super truck. Plus, my Sienna hybrid is super fuel efficient, tows great, has enough room for tons of gear, and doesn't look like it was drawn by a 6-year-old. Sienna wins! Test drive the top of its class Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Overcast tonight with a low of 63, then clouds remain through Wednesday with a high of 79.
Vinaigrette can add the perfect complement to your next home-cooked meal. Taste test their wide selection of oils and vinegars, and they'll bottle it for you right on the spot. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Check them out at vinaigrettemn.com.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACD, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we got Heather Keeler coming on here, but first, Wendy, we went out and voted here, and that was exciting. And also talk a little bit about what you and Micah are doing for the store. Wait a sec. Oh, I got to...
Yeah, my mic. So I've been making resin jewelry. I've been making necklaces and keychains and bookmarks. Everything is by hand. It's painstakingly smudged and good thoughts while I'm making all the jewelry. So, yeah, check it out. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to be at the fair, and then we just got our hats. You're on Native Land in, and we got our Resist hats and some new swag and a lot of designs, and all your cards will be in there, too, with everyone loved last year.
It's been really a lot of fun getting everything ready and prepared and making I really enjoy, like, painting and, making the jewelry. So it's really been a lot of fun. Yes, and we did vote today in the primary for our Minnesota U.S. representative and our Minnesota U.S. senator. I talked to so many people who only vote in the presidential election, and they don't really know why it's important to
vote otherwise. I mean,
well, that's a really good segue, because we have State Representative Heather Keeler on, and she's out canvassing right now. Welcome to Native Roots Radio, Heather.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Sound good.
Okay.
It looks like you're outside, a big tree and a lake behind you. What the heck?
First of all, this is not a lake behind me. It's like a hockey rink. We're in the middle of a park. I think this is kind of what primaries do. We set up camp and we just get to work in the community. So that's why we're at a park today.
Right on. Well, Wendy and I were talking about the importance of getting out there, and people still have time to get out there. Heather, I know we're really excited about the national election, but we should also be focusing on local, and I think that's what Wendy was going to get into, but how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think being involved in democracy at any level is important, and the primary is extremely important. It allows us to know, I think, our candidates on a more local level. I'm out knocking for Breon. Breon served with me in the Queer Caucus, has done a lot of work around encampments and really in this effort to end homelessness along with disability services. And so for me, primary day is for us to get out and really vote for the people who are our neighbors and our relatives. And that's important. Up in Red Lake, we have Tim Sumner up there who's on the ballot, because it's important that we have tribal people at the table of these county, seats as well. And so it's really important to show up. Polls close at 8. Y'all still have enough time. Vote.org is an easy spot to go if you don't know where you need to go vote or information that you need. That's just like a good place to go to get information, and it's not too late. We need everybody to show up, because it's hard to say you're going to vote in the general if you don't have any say in who's even going to be on your general ballot, right? Like that's the first step to it. Mm-hmm.
Well, Heather, I know you're big in education, and before you became state representative, and of course you still are with your children, and you don't just lose that, but I really believe that we are ignorant about how things work, and we really need to do more than just one quarter or one semester of civics as a senior. I think we should be teaching our students from day one. Take them to the polls, and we all have responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And one of the things that I've been able to do, one, you guys all know I'm a mom, and DJ turned 18. And so it's been really fun to walk through the process of registering to vote. Higher education, we've talked about that, being engaged. But, we do have government classes in our high schools. And it's interesting how much you have a government class that doesn't want to invest in politics and understanding like the philosophy of politics and who we are. And so one thing that I'm really proud of is that I've been able to bring leaders like our attorney general and chairs of some of our committees back into our government classes and just build those relationships with the kids, because it's important for our 18-year-olds to know that like our elected officials are moms and humans, just like, the people that they know. So it was nice because we were able to humanize this work and re-engage that new voters. But you're right, civics needs to be something that we talk about, because being active in your democracy is like our civic duty. A lot of us fought for the right to vote so that we have a voice at the table, women, Native people, right? And so like the leaders and our elders before us fought for us to do this act. And it's so important that we like show up in the act of resiliency for that.
Well, it's interesting too. I'm old enough to remember that people died trying to vote. And I'm 60. Wendy and I are old enough to remember people physically blocking people from the ballots. And so people have died for our right to vote.
Yeah, and it's crazy, Robert, because they still try to find ways to like block us from the ballot. And the truth is, like, I think with sovereignty on the line, our battle is at the ballot this year. And so, they'll try to tell us that our tribal IDs don't work, or we have to go back to our tribal nations to vote. Like, I feel like they just come up with these crazy things that aren't true. And so it's also like today and going into the general, know your rights around voting. We'll be sharing out the information that you can call, if you find yourself in a situation that you don't feel like you have the right to vote, or somebody's telling you that you can't. We've really done a lot of work in Minnesota to make sure everybody has the right to vote.
Right. And we appreciate that, Wendy.
Absolutely.
mean, whenever we see you, Heather, we want to give you a hug because of all the great work that you and the representatives on the blue side are doing for us here. We live in an amazing state, but we have to get out and vote like we're talking about to keep it amazing.
Yeah, I think it's hard because the fear is that we're going to take it for granted. You know, we showed up really well. We had a powerhouse 2 years. We were able to move massive legislation that people have been working on for decades, but we can't stop now. You know, we have to continue to show back up. We have new voters, we have new opportunities, we have new issues that we're trying to tackle. And so, you know, it's the consistency that we need. And so just making sure too, I think one thing that we've talked about is how close some of these races are. And, you know, you hear this theory that like, well, my vote doesn't really count, and so I'm not going to go. Y'all, like some of these votes, these wins are like 10, 20 votes. That's like you and your crew showing up. And so like, if you go hit the polls, grab a couple of your friends, call your relatives, and make sure they have rides and stuff to get there too.
Yeah, when it's a state election, I mean, each county, if it's 10 votes difference, that's quite a few votes. And so, yeah, your vote does matter.
Yeah. Proof is we just have to get out there, and some of our, like, you never want to be disappointed because it was so close that you could have shown up and made a difference. Like, you just don't want to be that person, right? Like, you want to make sure it's there. My dad used to say all the time, and we hear it from other elders too, like, you can't complain about things if you don't show up, but you know, get involved. And so it's so important, I think, not only to be a part of democracy, but by us voting, we're protecting democracy as well. I mean, that's really something that's on the line, on the ballot.
Big time. And again, you know, I really like, I think I saw a post that you put up there. I really like that about we have to really pay attention to all the smaller, and there's no such thing. I just don't have a big vocabulary, elections out there, from city council on up. School board.
Like local elections matter. And, you know, getting engaged in your local elections is really what makes your community work. You know, we have school boards, we have county commissions, we have city council, we have tribal nations, we have tribal council, we have state positions, right? Like we all work together to build the best community that you want. And, you know, it's amazing how many people just don't get engaged, but still have, like, they complain about things a lot to us. And so it's like part of fixing the problem is we all have to show up to be part of the solution. Well,
Heather, we are, I know you're busy. I don't know if you can stay on for another segment, but if you can't, we have a few more minutes here. And if you want to wrap it up, or if you can hold on for another segment, that would be great too.
Yeah, I can stick around. You know, one of the things that we're doing, and one of the things I really believe in is, you know, even though we're in a campaign cycle, there's still work to be done, and the momentum still needs to move forward. That when you run in the House, we've talked about it, it's like every 2 years, it gets really hard to campaign that often, but also we're doing the work still. And if we come back, we can talk a little bit more about it. But, you know, in my work as a liaison, I did a lot of work around check and connect and mentorship and making sure kids were in school. And so yesterday we had our first in-person legislative task force or study group to really dive into attendance and truancy. We can do whatever we want with civics and the curriculum, but if kids aren't in school, they're never going to learn anything. And so we're really taking a deep dive into that. It's super cool. We want parents, students, social workers, after school programs, coaches to be involved because the stakeholders that are coming to the table are important, but it's so much more than just our superintendents, our principals, our teachers. I think we all need to be part of that conversation. So love to chat about that. Yeah. I nerd out about that kind of stuff in general. Right. So it's what we're working on.
Well, you know, being a former teacher too, and I was on the parent committee of St. Paul for many years as a teacher liaison. I really truly believed if we helped our students go to class each day, our graduation rate would go up 75%, and that's all around because, you know, kids are bored, especially the smart ones are just like, you got to get them engaged, and we'll talk more about that, but we got another minute on here and on this segment, and give out that address again if people are confused on where to vote.
Just go to vote.org. It's a super easy site. It doesn't matter if you're in Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Montana. You know, it'll link you to the spaces that you need to know. It'll give you your polling locations. It'll give you a time everything closes. You can even see who's on your ballot. Don't go in surprised. You still have a couple hours to go in. It's a good website to get all the information from. Just remember, 8 o'clock tonight. it matters. Your voice absolutely matters.
Right on. Thank you so much for coming in. And this is we're going to take a quick break here. I do believe. Oh, wait, I'm a minute early, huh, Haley?
Yes.
Yes. Oh boy, good thing I got a producer, Heather.
Yeah, I know. She gives us timing. It's crazy. How did we end up with time left to talk? Normally, she's like shutting us off because we talk too much.
Right. So
we got like 30 seconds now.
Okay. Well, that was good. We did that good. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio here to tell you about the best window contractor in Minnesota, 952 Windows. Here's why I trust them in my home projects. 952 Windows is a part of Loyal Home, founded by former window light workers known for their ethics and quality. It's a top-notch remodeling company that's been flying under the radar for too long. They've even sold to competitors' employees who want top-tier quality for their homes. For the best in windows and doors, have 952 Windows take care of your next project. They offer the longest warranties and were rated Energy Star's most efficient in windows and doors. Believe me, I've known the owner for decades, so I can vouch for their excellence. They're not just about windows either. They're your go-to for roofing, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, and more. Plus, they've got you covered on onyx bath and rosebud cabinets. Trust me, you won't regret giving them a call at 952-WINDOWS or 952windows.com.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, we're here with State Representative Heather Keeler, and Heather likes howling here with us. It's always a good surprise. Welcome, Heather. You got a skating rink behind you and a big tree. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the elements outside right now. It's always good to be here. I love that now I'm back on every other Tuesday because it sort of feels like family again.
Yeah, right on.
Aww.
And you know what's you know what's really cool too is that we'll be able to wrangle you in and do some guest hosting too. Because you are the best. You are the best guest host we have.
That's what you say to all the guest hosts.
All two of them.
All two of you. Yep, definitely.
You said we were going to be able to tag team it one time. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, we'll pull that together. I'm going to be out at the DNC doing reporting here for a couple days out there. And then, of course, the state fair comes up. And I don't know if you do the state fair, but it'd be great to have you come in and do a show with us. If you do come on down with this, it's really people-y. Oh, the Heather's going.
I know. You know, you did. It's interesting because you always like put me in these situations online, right? To like say I'm not going to do something, but I'm not going to do the fair. I don't do the fair. It's actually like my kids go back to school on the 26th. Yeah. It starts we start school really early for Minnesota, and so getting back into that routine. And we travel a lot, and so it's nice just to be able to stay home and start that routine. And we really start like kicking off my campaign in that time of year because we're a big lake community, and a lot of people in Moorhead have like a lake house somewhere, and so they start to come back. And so it's more important for me to do my work in my district at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can dig that. But it's we always have a opening for you whenever you want to come on to, even if we're at the fair. We'll be at Shakopee too, but I think we're going to do a pre-record show there. So we'll be there with Native Roots Trading Post, selling some swag.
Very cool. I will join you at that tent for sure.
Good one. Well, we got a lot of new stuff. So Heather, we were talking in the last segment, talk a little bit about education.
Yeah.
That's your jam, and that's where you come from. And let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I always like to start kind of with like where I've been in education. I worked in Indian education for a really long time, and I loved that. You know, a lot of people tried to push me to be a teacher, and that was never something I wanted to do because as a liaison, one of the coolest things I was able to do is partner with families from grade 7 through 12, and that's not common. So it was these like lifelong relationships, sitting in living rooms with my families. And I learned what some of the struggles were to their academic success. As I've talked about, when I got my master's in educational leadership, I did my practicum asking my community, what were the barriers to academic success outside of academic rigor? The top 3 things should be no surprise, right? Lack of representation. Our teachers and our administrative staff don't look like our students. The access to homes and food. Like if you don't have those basic things, you're not going to be successful. And so education has been more than just curriculum building for me. You know, we did Indian Education for All. We did the right to regalia. We did a lot of things for Native kids and other kids of different beautiful cultural backgrounds to start to see themselves in the school district. Because we have to do that first before kids are comfortable enough to go. Also, it's really interesting because as we go back to school, I have a real deep interest in like what's exciting to kids. Like, why do you want to go to school? What are you excited to do? Because at the end of the day, education, like our kids are our customers. We want to make sure that our kids like to go to school and like to learn and want to have lifelong learning opportunities. And the number one thing that kids say from kindergarten to their senior year is some social engagement. They like to go spend time with their friends. They like to be challenged with their friends. They like to do cool things with their friends. And it's interesting that when you talk to the adults in the education world, they just want more like structure and rigor. And we're trying to take away recess as a punishment. And we want isolation for kids who have behavior issues. And it's just so backwards. And so doing this attendance study group, we're trying to address that. We shouldn't address it as a truancy lane where you're criminalizing people for not going to school. We should really address it from like making school a fun place for kids to go and they want to learn. And how do we make that transition? And so that's the work that we're doing around the education components. Because again, we can change curriculum all we want. We can add all these cool things into the requirements for teachers. But if kids don't want to be there, they're just not going to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some organizations here in the Twin Cities, Native-run organizations that have really kind of changed their vibe about being there, taking care of family first, then yourself second, and the job third. And what I've heard through interviews and face-to-face conversations is that work has gone way up. So, I mean, you're talking about maybe nothing revolutionary, more of a Native-centric way of looking at things when it comes to learning.
Well, I mean, if we really want to dig into like the education system, right? Like it replicates boarding schools through and through. We're inside buildings. We get stuck in classrooms. We don't get to speak our language. We can't show up in our regalia, right? Like traditionally as Indigenous people, we learned in the elements, we learned in the seasons, and we learned from our elders. And so the education system as it is, no matter what we do, never replicates what we're used to like learning and growing in. And so it's a struggle, right? Like it's a struggle to make school a place that all of us want to be when the parameters of the school setting now still resemble, the tool that was used to try to eliminate us. And that's some of the deeper things that we have to talk about. Because if you think about it, like some of our uncles and close relatives were stolen to boarding schools. And so we're not that far out. No. And until we kind of address education about science, why aren't we learning about science out in the elements? Why aren't we learning about math out in the elements. I mean, like, I think it would be really beneficial for a lot of kids, but we keep them stuck in the buildings and we keep them stuck in that space, which means we don't expand their minds in the best way. So it'll be interesting in the next, couple years to really look at how we revamp and grow our ideas around education in Minnesota.
Yeah, Wendy and I can attest to that. Being a late bloomer, not really, doing well enough to get through school, but totally bored through school. And Wendy, you had to go to work. And
I grew up with a single mom. She was, supporting my sister and I, keeping food on the table and clothes on our back. And I used to cut school to go to work, so that I could help out, so I could buy groceries, so I could, do stuff like that. And it wasn't that I didn't want to be in school. It was like a necessity, honestly. So,
yeah. It kind of makes there's this whole concept that having the free time as a teenager to go to school all week is really kind of a privilege, right? Because we do have a lot of kids that are growing up in really tight financial circumstances, and your 16, 17, 18-year-olds need to go out and get jobs. And, the study halls and the way that high school is structured, I think we have more opportunities to get our high schoolers working out in the community and spaces that, one, we need as communities, right? We need childcare workers. We need people working in our senior centers. We need people working in our industries, in our welding industries, get our kids out to do that. But also they need to make money because it's really hard to survive. And we have a lot of single parents out there that unfortunately do kind of lean on those teenagers that they're raising to help cover the bills.
Yeah, definitely. That's good medicine and good conversation. And I can't wait to hear more about this, Heather, because I believe you're right on. And again, we talked about, our young ones and heck, our old ones. What am I saying? That don't know how our government runs.
Oh my gosh. Do you know how many people don't know how our government runs? That's terrifying. Because I can tell you, we don't have the smartest people running the government all the time. And some of the most brilliant brains in our community feel like they're not worthy enough to be at that space. And so the last plug is always not only get engaged by democracy, but run for something, get engaged in a campaign, help people right now. It's important. There's a lot of roles. We have financial roles, behind the scene roles, campaign roles, canvassers, get out and door knock, engage with your community. There's so many things that all of you can do. It is our job collectively to bring this country back to the place where we really want it to be. And so I don't know what that means in your lane, but there's roles for absolutely everybody.
Hey, a big peeny geeky State Representative Heather Keeler for stopping in. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're still here. We are the seventh generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Right now.
Watching